At first glance, the Ottoman Empire can appear as just another grand chapter in the pages of world history, an empire known for epic military conquests, shimmering architectural masterpieces, and a cultural mosaic that stretched across 3 continents. Yet, beneath the sweeping headlines lies a far more intricate story, one that reveals how a small frontier principality evolved into a formidable empire that would profoundly shape global politics, faiths, and daily life for centuries. From the metamorphosis of Constantinople into Istanbul to the emergence of a diverse society championing both trade and scholarship, the Ottoman journey is nothing short of extraordinary. Today we embark on a deep dive through this ever-fascinating saga, uncovering the layers of ambition, resilience, and vibrant legacy that still impacts our modern world. The origins of the Ottoman Empire date back to the late 13th century in Anatolia, an area marked by diverse cultures and competing kingdoms following the fragmentation of the Seljuk Sultanate of Rum. At the helm was Osman I, a tribal leader whose vision was fueled by an unyielding determination to carve out a realm of his own. In the early years, Ottoman soldiers formed an agile fighting force adept at quick strikes against rival territories. Because their initial base encompassed strategically placed valleys and trade routes, they could muster resources and allies in ways that often surprised far larger adversaries. Yet, the rise was not merely a matter of military prowess. The Ottomans tapped into a mosaic of frontier alliances, including tribal groups disenchanted with older regimes. The promise of stability and fair governance underpinned these early expansions, forging a loyalty that transcended cultural differences. By supporting artisans, merchants, and religious communities, Osman and his successors nurtured a sense of shared destiny among various groups. Step by step, they extended their dominion across northwestern Anatolia, eventually crossing into the Balkans. A turning point came when the empire demonstrated its capacity to adapt. While many medieval states rigidly followed time-honored structures, the Ottomans integrated local customs and administrative models to match each newly acquired region. Leaders recognized that conquering land was one challenge, but efficiently governing it was a different art. Thus, the seeds of what would become a vast multicultural empire were planted early, through open-minded leadership and flexible administration. By the mid-15th century, the Ottoman Empire's ambitions crystallized. The capture of Constantinople in 1453 under Mehmed II, forever known as the Conqueror, was a seismic event in world history. Constantinople, once the heart of the Byzantine Empire, became Istanbul, a new capital humming with trade, learning, and cultural exchange. Mehmed II did more than just rename the city. He also invited a cosmopolitan mix of merchants, scholars, and artisans to settle there, turning it into a bustling metropolis, bridging east and west. As the empire expanded across southeastern Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa, a centralized but still flexible governance framework allowed it to remain dynamic despite governing millions of people from varied backgrounds. Sultans such as Bayezid II and Selim I strengthened institutions and bureaucracies. This structured approach paved the way for what many call the Golden Age under Suleiman, the Magnificent in the 16th century. During Suleiman's reign, the Ottoman borders expanded dramatically, touching the gates of Vienna in the west and extending deep into the Middle East. Military victories were only part of his legacy. Suleiman championed arts, architecture, and jurisprudence, earning the moniker Kanuni, or the lawgiver. Ottoman architects, most famously Mimar Sinan, constructed breathtaking mosques and civic buildings adorned with intricate tiles and calligraphy. Meanwhile, poets and scholars thrived at court, producing works that would be treasured for centuries to come. Along major trade routes, caravans carried textiles, spices, precious metals, and knowledge between continents. In this golden era, the empire became a crossroads where Islamic, Christian, Jewish, and other traditions intertwined, enriching commerce, art, and science alike. One of the most captivating aspects of the Ottoman Empire was its knack for cultural amalgamation. Unlike states that suppressed diversity, the Ottomans adopted a system called the millet, allowing non-Muslim communities a level of autonomy to govern their affairs. This policy nurtured a coexistence of religions, Orthodox Christians, Catholics, Jews, and others, resulting in lively neighborhoods where multiple languages and customs converged. Beyond religious tolerance, the empire showcased an extraordinary blend of influences in art, music, and cuisine. Ottoman palaces often featured Persian-inspired gardens alongside Byzantine-influenced frescoes. In Istanbul's Grand Bazaar, you might have encountered Venetian merchants selling glassware next to local weavers producing silk brocades, while coffee and sweet confections tempted passers-by. Academic life flourished within madrasas supported by the sultans, covering mathematics, astronomy, theology, and more. Legendary libraries collected manuscripts from far corners of the known world, propelling scholarship in various fields. That said, societal complexity also gave rise to unique structures like the Janissaries, an elite corps initially composed of young men recruited through the Devshirme system. Educated and trained under strict discipline, these soldiers became a potent force and a prominent institution in Ottoman governance. Over time, the Janissaries gained political leverage, reflecting the empire's constant challenge of balancing central authority with powerful interest groups. As the empire's sphere of influence grew, so did its internal intricacies. Each region, whether in the Balkans, Anatolia, or the Arab provinces, had distinct historical and cultural roots. Ottoman administrators were often careful to preserve local traditions, understanding that stability hinged on respecting diverse norms. While this approach typically prevented large-scale uprisings, it also required a constant interplay between the central court and local elites, a delicate dance that would influence future reforms and tensions. Navigating the complexities of a sprawling empire called for continual adaptation. By the late 17th and into the 18th century, European powers had begun to surge ahead in terms of maritime exploration, economic systems, and military technology. The once formidable Ottoman fleet had to contend with rising naval might beyond its horizon. In response, sultans and their advisors looked outward, seeking foreign expertise to modernize the army, navy, and administrative procedures. These challenges fueled a wave of significant changes, sometimes referred to as the Tulip period, and later the Tanzimat era. The Tulip period, named for the widespread fascination with tulips as symbols of luxury and refinement, saw attempts to integrate Western styles in art and architecture. Formal gardens, lavish public events, and the pursuit of European-inspired fashions became emblematic of cultural cross-pollination at the upper echelons of society. Yet, the external realities were more daunting than a mere aesthetic shift. The Tanzimat reforms of the mid-19th century aimed to overhaul tax systems, legal codes, and bureaucratic structures. Officials wanted to create a more centralized state that could stand toe-to-toe with European counterparts. These modernizations included developing secular courts and introducing concepts like citizenship equality, at least on paper, for all subjects of the empire. While some reforms accelerated progress in education and transportation, railways, telegraphs, opposition arose from segments of the population who felt threatened by rapid transformations or saw them as undermining Islamic principles. Meanwhile, outside pressures kept mounting. With the industrialization of Western Europe, the empire's traditional crafts faced fierce competition. Diplomatic alliances, especially with Britain, France, and later Germany, also entangled the Ottomans in broader geopolitical rivalries. Financial troubles led to reliance on European loans, deepening the empire's vulnerability. The tension between preserving Ottoman identity and evolving to match global innovations created a push and pull effect that echoed through the final century of the empire's existence. By the late 19th century, the empire was struggling with internal strife, nationalist movements in the Balkans, and continuous external interference. Some of the once loyal provinces yearned for greater autonomy or outright independence. In regions like Greece, Serbia, and Romania, nationalist sentiments erupted into conflicts that undermined Ottoman control. In the meantime, The empire's diverse tapestry meant that integrating new reforms or raising taxes could spark local resistance in distant provinces. Still, it would be overly simplistic to describe its last century as mere downfall. Attempts at constitutional governance and multiple waves of modernization suggest an empire wrestling with the very idea of a new world order. Debates in the Ottoman press circulated calls for equity among different ethnic and religious groups, reflecting both hopeful visions and deep-seated anxieties. Ultimately, events accelerated with the onset of the First World War. Aligned with the Central Powers, the Ottomans faced simultaneous campaigns on multiple fronts. By the war's end, the empire was effectively partitioned. The final dissolution paved the way for the modern Republic of Turkey, established under Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, while other regions gained independence or fell under different mandates. Yet the Ottoman imprint endures in surprising ways. From the swirling arabesques on a Bosnian mosque to the coffee rituals in the Middle East, from the architectural silhouettes in Istanbul to the culinary fusions across southeastern Europe, the echoes of centuries past remain. Many modern nations still reference Ottoman legal precedents or maintain historic administrative divisions at a local level. The intangible cultural heritage, music, dance, stories, and even everyday idioms reflects centuries of shared experiences. In the story of the Ottoman Empire, ambition, faith, and ingenuity intertwine with challenge, adaptation, and resilience. What began as a small bey-like on the edges of Anatolia grew into a colossal empire that mediated between diverse societies, merging architectural styles, fostering scholarship, and encouraging a pluralism far ahead of its time. At its zenith, it was a global hub, connecting Europe, Asia, and Africa through trade and cultural exchange, and shaping countless lives from the Balkans to the Arabian Peninsula. Though its power gradually waned under both internal and external strains, the spirit of the Ottomans persists in everyday symbols, stories, and practices. Even the architectural skyline of Istanbul, where minarets and domes shimmer against the Bosphorus, stands as a living testament to an empire that refused to remain static, adapting and reinventing itself across the centuries. As we reflect on this chapter of world history, we find that the Ottoman legacy still offers valuable lessons on cultural synergy, governance, and the challenges of modernization in a rapidly changing global landscape. If you found this deep dive into the Ottoman Empire inspiring, let's keep the journey alive. Show your support by liking this video and share it with friends who have a passion for history. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more explorations into pivotal empires, civilizations, and turning points that continue to shape our modern world.